When people hear the phrase Backdoor Roth IRA, it can sound a little sneaky, like you're trying to do something you shouldn't be doing, or trying to sneak something by the IRS. So let's clear that up right away. There is no special account for the Backdoor Roth. There's no secret form, there's no hidden approval, there's no gray area here. It's just a two-step process that you follow that's written into the tax code. First, you make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA. Then, you convert that money to a Roth IRA. That's it. And the reason it works is because the IRS has income limits on those who can make direct contributions to a Roth IRA, but they do not have income limits on Roth conversions, and that distinction is intentional. Congress explicitly allows conversions regardless of income, and this was not an accident. It was not an oversight. This was a deliberate design choice. So the Backdoor Roth is simply a strategy for high-income earners to take advantage of the Roth account and its favorable tax treatment using the rules that exist, so long as it's done correctly. And that done correctly is going to be the rest of the focus of the remainder of this video. This is one of the most important parts of the conversation, because a backdoor Roth isn't something you should do just because it exists. When it fits, it can be incredibly powerful, but when it doesn't fit, it ends up creating taxes, or it can take your attention away from better strategies that might fit your situation. So let's start with where it fits best. A backdoor Roth is generally a good fit for high earners who are over the income limit for direct Roth IRA contributions, but they still want long-term tax-free growth on their money. To contribute directly to a Roth IRA, your income has to fall within specific IRS limits, and once your income rises above those thresholds, you lose the ability to contribute directly, even though the Roth itself is still an incredibly valuable account. That loss of access is the primary driver of the backdoor Roth, and the conversion is what opens it back up. It also works best for people whose retirement savings are primarily inside employer plans, like a 401k, meaning they don't have large legacy balances inside a traditional IRA to complicate the process. This strategy is especially effective for people with a long time horizon before retirement, because the real value of the Roth IRA isn't the contributions themselves, but the decades of tax-free growth. And finally, it tends to make the most sense for people who are already maxing out other tax-advantaged accounts. In that context, the backdoor Roth isn't replacing anything. Instead, it's adding diversification to an already solid foundation. Now, with all of that being said, let's talk about who the backdoor Roth strategy might not be a good fit for. If you have large pre-tax balances in a traditional, a SEP, or a simple IRA, the backdoor Roth can quickly become messy and taxable due to the pro rata rule. And it certainly doesn't mean it's impossible, but it does mean you have to be more careful. And we'll go over exactly what that looks like in a moment. If you need near-term liquidity, this strategy usually isn't ideal. Once the money's in a Roth IRA, the intention is that you allow it to grow tax-free. But if you need flexibility, or if you need access to this money in the near term, the Roth isn't the best place for it. Rather, it might be best to have this in a plain old brokerage account. That way you can touch it whenever you need it. And this also may not be a great fit for people in very high marginal tax brackets with poor conversion mechanics, meaning there's no clean way to move this money into a Roth without causing unnecessary taxes or crowding out better planning opportunities for your situation. So the backdoor Roth isn't a universal move, it's a situational one. The goal isn't to simply get money into a Roth, it's to do it in a way that improves your long-term tax picture. When you break it down, the backdoor Roth process itself is actually very straightforward. In its cleanest form, it really is just a couple of steps, and when set up appropriately, it absolutely can be this simple. Step 1 is to open the right accounts. You need a traditional IRA to make the initial contribution and a Roth IRA to receive the conversion. That Roth IRA can be a brand new one, or it can be one you already have, it doesn't matter. Step 2 is making a non-deductible contribution to the traditional IRA. This is done up to the annual IRA contribution limit, and this is the key detail here. You do not take a tax deduction for this contribution. You are intentionally putting after-tax dollars into this account. Step 3 is converting that money to a Roth IRA. In many cases, this is done immediately. Sometimes it's the same day, sometimes it's the next day, or very shortly after. When the process is executed cleanly, the tax impact of the conversion itself is often very minimal or even zero. And this is where I want to take a moment to emphasize an important concept. Timing matters far less than a clean conversion. Often a lot of attention is given to how fast you make this conversion and whether it's done instantly. But really, the most important pieces of this puzzle are that you make the non-deductible contribution, you properly report the conversion itself, and that other things don't really interfere with the process. When you walk through it like this, it feels pretty cut and dry, and for many people it is if you have the appropriate setup, but not everyone has a blank slate. And it's when there are other IRA balances, existing tax history, or structural complications that things can get a little messy.